Whether words are harmful is very much dependent on the individual who hears them. And I think that if you have a principle that you can't harm people by words, people will claim to be harmed by all sorts of words which wouldn't have harmed anyone or be thought to harm anyone a generation ago. I think that you've therefore got to have some element of objectivity. I think the question needs to be whether you would be harming people in the eyes of reasonable people. I think that nobody is entitled to intellectual safety. Nobody is entitled not to have their most fundamental and cherished views challenged. The traditional line which English law has drawn is between words which simply outrage people and words which would cause a breach of the peace among reasonable people. That seems to me to be a defensible line to draw. The line which many people would like to draw is a line which would prevent you from insulting, offending, or hurting people. I think insulting, offending, or hurting people is discourteous, but I do not think that the law has any role here, because it seems to me that what is insulting or offensive is too subjective a concept and too variable a concept, variable over time and variable from one person to the next.
At a sort of personal level, I have to say there have been times when things have been said to me that I've found very hurtful, but when I've sat down and thought about them, I've had to grapple with the fact that there was some legitimacy. In fact, sometimes I think we only advance when we do have hotly contested ideas and when people actually have to confront the fact that they might have called it wrong.
All knowledge and all opinion is provisional until something more persuasive comes along.
And sometimes
if we shut down the persuasive process, we will stop advancing.
This difficult concept we have in Australia, and I think you have it here too, of hate speech. I don't know how you define hate speech anyway, but it's led to some fairly uncomfortable propositions, I think, in the public square.
Hate speech is not, as yet in this country, a legal concept, except in the case of hate speech that provokes a breach of the peace among reasonable people, where it's been part of the law for as long as anyone can remember. There is a demand for its suppression by law, and in particular for its suppression by regulating, for example, the social media. And the problem about this is that any attempt to regulate speech, short of speech that provokes a breach of the peace, ends up by enforcing the middle position. It ends up by enforcing a high degree of conformity to received opinion. It seems to me that intellectually, morally, socially, we advance very largely through challenges to received positions. Sometimes these challenges result in the received positions changing. Sometimes they result in people questioning the foundations of their own views and coming up with exactly the same views, but for better thought out reasons. Both of these are extremely beneficial processes.